Hi everyone. So I want to talk about what is fast weight loss versus an appropriate weight loss. And I'm not going to get into what is slow weight loss because that's not really the point of this video, and that's fine. Um, I don't have anything to say negative about slower weight loss. I only have, well, I'll get into it. So for when somebody is heavier, like I started off quite heavy, over 300 pounds. And so the 1 to 2 pounds a week is not really meant, and I'll explain it in a minute, necessarily when somebody is quite a bit heavier. It's when someone gets to be more of the heavy but not extremely heavy variety, where 1 to 2 pounds a week is probably a better range to shoot for. It's not always going to happen. You're going to lose weight every week, obviously. There are going to be plateaus. There are going to be, there's times when it's a little slower. Winter is usually not when people lose the most weight. And usually the warmer, sunnier weather is when people lose more weight. But that's not always true. So it's what most of the medical advice and the nutritional advice is that 1% of your, not more than 1% of your body weight per week. Okay, well, so if I look at, and I have looked at what my weight has, and I've lost the most weight with a health coach, and which makes sense because they know when to go for it, when not to, when to slow down, when to, and keep me going. But the thing is that I have lost less than 3 pounds a week if I average it from when I started at 261 and now I'm 179. I have lost less than 3 pounds a week, more like 2.5 pounds a week on average. And that, considering I started at 261 and now I'm 179, that is about 1% of my body weight per week on average. Now, yeah, obviously, did I have one week that was just ridiculous? Like, I can't even believe I lost that much. Yeah, but let's look at it for a minute. I had the week before, I didn't really lose any. I think I had lost like 1 pound the whole week, and then I ended up going to New York. I had cheap meals. I gained 1.5 pounds, and then all of a sudden, and I got off. If you have something you gain really quickly, you're going to get off probably the next day, and that is exactly what happened. I had been holding on to a bunch of weight. I hadn't been losing very well, and then it's like, okay, now I'm going to get it off. And then I lost another bit for another about 3 days, and then I stalled a bit. And then I was like, okay, I need to kind of give myself a break and do a maintain kind of thing. And I did some different maintenance weeks during the winter, because that was the best thing to do. And I built the muscle a little bit more. And some weeks, obviously, the reason why I lost more is because I'd been holding on from previous weeks when I wasn't losing much, and then as much, and so it just kind of finally came off. So it's not like, I was trying to do something really extreme or whatever to get it. Just was like, really, I lost. Sometimes it's like, but I ate more, or I didn't even exercise as much, or like it wasn't even what I normally. Sometimes if I do something really extreme, it doesn't come off these days. So anyway, I'm not trying to like be defensive really necessarily, but my weight loss has not been fast. It has been moderate and appropriate on average for my size, for my body size. And so that's something, it's just that I've been, and I credit my health coach, because I had a couple months where I hardly lost anything. um, last year. And well, let's see, May. I started with a little bit in May, and then I didn't do any more. And then yeah, maybe it was maybe 7 weeks or so. I just couldn't lose a thing, not one thing. And so that, I didn't lose as much because I had these times when I just kind of overdid it, and ended up, um, plateauing because I overdid it. So, not including that time, which, I know things I did right, things I didn't do right, all of that. I mean, we all have, we all have to learn, right? And continue learning, I think. But anyway, but I have had an appropriate amount of weight loss, even though, sure, we want to shoot for the stars, want to try to, motivate myself. I can do this, I can do this much. But, in reality, it really was 2 to 3 pounds a week usually. And now it's 1 to 2 pounds a week, which is very appropriate for someone of my size and what I weigh now. So it's just that, again, with the health coach, I've been consistently losing, except for a few weeks when I was, maintaining and trying to build a little more calories in and things like that. So it may seem fast, but again, I've been very consistent and been able to get the weight off, and had a coach to help me to go, this is the issue. You need to, like, speed up when you walk, or, you need to change your macros around. You need to change your eating pattern a bit. Let's try something a little bit different, but not too extreme. Let's try, and that all has kept me going. So that's an appropriate amount of weight to lose, not too fast. Although, yes, obviously some weeks are like, I can't even believe I lost that much. But that's because I had slower weeks the week before, or I had gained weight because I had, I had 5 days when I wasn't exactly eating in my normal pattern, and I had cheat meals every night, kind of thing. I was being careful not to gain too much weight. It was 1.5 pounds altogether I gained in New York after 5 days. And yeah, I had, starchy, fatty, delicious food every night, But anyway, patterns of losing weight are different for different people, and that's all fine. I don't have any judgment whether somebody loses it slower or faster, although, I'm really, really fast. I don't know. I won't say anything about it. But that's really, I've been in an appropriate kind of a weight loss realm. And so I think that the moral of the story here is consistency will get you further in the long run than being inconsistent. But you do you. That's what's worked for me. That's what's kept me in what people think is a fast weight loss, when it's just a consistent weight loss. And so, maybe keep that in mind, maybe not. But I'm just telling you my story, and why I have been able to lose so very, very much. And yeah, I'm healthy. My metabolism is not completely run down. Obviously, I'm going to need to add calories in as I go along, because I've gotten to a certain point where, at some point, I've raised him to some degree. It hasn't gone down and down and down. I've raised him. I've had to do some things to get past the plateau, but it's not like extreme. And overall, my calories are going up. My metabolism is better. It's able to handle more foods better. I can handle starches better now. There are many things that I can handle I didn't used to be able to, and certain biomarkers of a healthier metabolism that I have now that I didn't have before. My basic temperature is at a better rate. Yeah, I mean, digestive wise, I'm much more healthy. many, many other things. I'm not as cold-handed and cold in feet. They used to be a little colder. So things are improving. Anyway, so that's my take anyway, based on, the most basic of the credible information on what is healthy weight loss. Now, it doesn't mean, you have to lose 1% of your body weight every week. If you lose 0.5% of your body weight on average every week, well, fine, great. I have that's perfectly fine. Everybody has their their saga, their journey, their whatever you want to call it, and how they want to do it. Some people want to take more maintenance breaks, and whatever. The main thing is, again, are you changing your life? Are you changing your eating habits for good? Are you changing your fitness habits for good? Because the main thing is being able to keep it off long term. And I know in the past, and I'll just go on about this for just a moment, the thought, and when I gained it back and I couldn't seem to get back on the track, sometimes I'd have a really miserable plan. I mean, by the time I got done and I had to be so extreme to get to be further and further and further down, and I was doing it on my own. I never had a health coach before last late August. That's the only time I've ever had anything like that, except I was on Weight Watchers, but that was more of a group kind of thing. That was different. That was way back when I was a preteen and teen. But I always tried to do it on my own, and I'd be like, things would get to the point, especially the last one with all the fasting. For me, I'm just saying, for me, it ended up not being a good thing. And I'm like, I can't go back to it. It's like, it's so extreme, and it's like, I don't know what to do. I can try something else, but this is too extreme. And my leptin was so low because that's what happens is leptin goes down and ghrelin can go up. Ghrelin being the hunger hormone makes you more hungry, and the leptin is down a bit. Well, part because of less fat, and part because of I didn't prioritize the foods that keep me satiated and help support my metabolism well enough. I cut out some of the foods I should have, but not enough of them, and that's why I'm a little more careful this time. But yeah, I found it's very important to have something that I can go back to basics, because at some point I am going to gain 5 pounds, and hopefully I don't get any further than 5 pounds heavier, and I'm going to need to be able to go back to basics and not say, I can't do it. It's just too much. I can't do it. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'll just be a little more strict. And, it's not like I'm going to be terribly hungry. I'm going to be just eating the foods that make me more satiated and, and keep more to the basics or whatever, and tighten up my diet or whatever. That's success, because people are always going to gain a little bit from time to time after they've, reached their goal. It just happens. So how do I take it off? Well, now I know I don't have to do something that's miserable and hard to do. I don't have to go so low in calories. I can go, several hundred calories less and exercise a little more and get myself back to the right spot and, kind of keep a little bit tighter control. So with all of that, you have a great day. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.